Christian Mangana was a witness in the matter.
I didn't know that there was another ballistics expert in this matter.
This is, for me, very strange. We got this ballistics report from the dockets that you sent us. How can you not know that there was this report?
At the time that I got the report from the DPP, I wouldn't have had the docket. I would have had no knowledge of what was in the docket.
Well, this was in December 2024. These dockets had been with the NDPP's office since 2019.
Council, are these part of those 23 or
Yes.
the dockets that you spoke about earlier?
Indeed, indeed. So this is an extract from that docket.
Yes. In fairness to Advocate Batoyi, she made it clear earlier that she'd never read those dockets.
No, I'm making a different point. That this particular case is brought to her attention on the basis that the prosecutors have thrown the case away because they failed to call relevant ballistic reports. That is the point I'm making. She has responded in a letter in full, trying to justify the misconduct. This is the only point I'm making here. I understand the general point that she never read the dockets. Advocate Batoyi, I'm sorry we have to deal with this point again. I am asking you the question
Excuse me.
around the failure to consult Captain Mangana, who was a ballistic expert. My understanding is that your answer is you don't know because you did not even know that there was another report.
I was not aware at the time that there was another ballistics expert.
Yes. Now, let's look at what he says, this ballistic expert. At page 382. These are his conclusions. After examination of the crime scene and observation of the crime scene photos and post-mortem, I am of the opinion that 12.1, the deceased, and the deceased here is the 16-year-old boy who was watching football. The deceased was hit by at least 3 bullets. 4 fired cartridge cases were collected from the crime scene, means 4 shots were fired and 1 bullet missed him and perforated the sofa at hole marked W2. That's the first. 12.2, the bullet that perforated the right arm of the deceased at wounds 3A and 3B also perforated the sofa at hole marked W1. 12.3, looking at the position of the deceased, I am of the opinion that wounds marked 2A and 4A were inflicted by the same bullet. And 12.4 is important. It says the bloodstain pattern on the back of the sofa next to the right arm of the deceased is classified as forward spatter. This pattern is caused as the bullet exits the target and a larger amount of high force impact spatter is directed in the same direction as the bullet. The amount of high force spatter created will depend upon the caliber of the bullet fired. The bigger the caliber, the greater the spatter. The positions of the spatter and the wound sustained indicate that the arm of the deceased during the incident was almost positioned where it is current positioned. There was a slight movement of the arm after the incident. Now, this is a case where the policeman claimed that this young man had a gun and was trying to shoot at them. The picture he's analyzing there is at 385. Can you turn to that picture? Now, he says after the analysis of the sheer velocity of the bullets, he came to the conclusion that the position of those arms was where it is at the moment, and there was only a slight movement. Can you see that?
I do.
Yes. But he says that slight movement was after the incident. Can you see that?
I see that.
Yes. Then he continues. The injuries and damages caused by all 4 bullets had characteristics of high-velocity bullets. This is most probably 5.56 millimeter caliber bullets, supported by a number of fired 5.56 times 45 millimeter caliber cartridges. Now, other reports say that those bullets are only shot by R4s and R5s. Those are machine guns. Do you know that?
No. But I accept it.
But they also say what those bullets do, the 5.56 caliber bullets, explode inside the body of the victim. Do you know that?
I'm not aware.
And that is why the experts then say, when you use this type of a bullet that is intended to turn and explode inside the body of the victim, it is only consistent with the intention to kill. Do you know that?
I'm not aware of that.
It is expressly not consistent with an intention to arrest a suspect. Do you know that?
No, I'm not.
Now, Captain Mangana continues at 12.6. Looking at the wounds sustained, the blood-stained pattern, and the bullet holes, all these confirm that the deceased was shot while in a lying position on the sofa. Now, we know that lying position because we have page 385. The expert is explicitly clear that his opinion is that this young man was shot while lying on a sofa. Do you have any comment on that?
I see that, and it is very concerning that this witness expert was not consulted. I agree with that, and was not called at the trial.
Advocate Batoy, it's no help for you to be concerned today when this was brought to your attention in December 2024, that here is an expert report, it is in the docket, your prosecutors don't consult with him, he is not called as a witness. So to come after the event and to say you are concerned about it really helps no one, because the parents told you this. But then there is a further problem at 12.7. They say the current position of the deceased shows slight upward movement of the left arm, and the position of the firearm is unexplainable. We can go back to page 385. This is why it was concluded that that firearm was most probably planted by the killers of this young man.
What does that mean? That it was planted?
That it was put after they shot him. I know planting is a slang. But that firearm was put there after they shot this young man.
Any comment?
Chairperson, all I can say is that, I must accept this expert's evidence, and it is very concerning that this particular expert would not have been led at the trial.
Well, sorry, Advocate Batoy, it's not about not leading him at the trial. They did not even consult with him
That is correct.
to understand that there are weaknesses in his evidence, etc.
That is correct.
But
And that is also very concerning.
But the report is in the docket.
As I mentioned, I was not aware of that.
And this is why your conclusion that focuses on the opinions of Mr. Stale and Dr. Naidu completely misses the point.
I agree with you now that I'm aware that there was another ballistics expert.
And this is why, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the 5th paragraph, where you talk about
Sorry, what page are you at again?
page 160 of your letter, the 5th paragraph,
Yeah, I got it.
when you are telling the parents that these experts were expressing an opinion based on the position of the